Hi, welcome to Stock and Knit Zombies. I'm Amy, also known as J Knitma.
And I'm Megan Williams, at Megan Williams out on Ravelry. I don't like to say also known as, because it's like, well, I'm not. I'm saying the same thing over and over again. That's not grammatically correct. And we are the Stocking Knit Zombies. This is episode 7 on December 6th. We've got an advent calendar. I remember all the days. I know the date in December because of our advent calendar. So the 6th ornament went up today, and away we went.
So, how was your week?
Good. I had a couple comments from you and from others in the group that I've had a very lucky week.
Yeah.
So you'll see in acquisitions and enabling all of my my freebies that I've gotten, which was very cool. I feel like the fates kind of smiled down on me last week when I needed a pick-me-up, just because I was kind of sad about my sister, and I had not been feeling well. I kind of had a little bit of a cold that's going around here. So the fates, I have been lucky lately. Lucky in my drawings and stuff. So
yeah, I guess I felt a little lucky when I got that Nyan cat, but
yeah,
that was, lucky and I had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Not lucky free. But I don't know if we wanted to go to FOs. I don't have a real FO.
This is mark it on your calendars, folks. This is the first time that Amy
I do have one of those halvesy ones. See, I got one done. The fake FO.
Yeah, FFO?
Yes.
FFO?
But I'll just let you talk about the real one, and then I will talk about this as a whip.
Okay, I just realized that I started knitting instead of purling on this row. All right.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Throw that aside. These are my cafe au latte mitts. They were a real quick knit for me, and if you can see the ziggy zaggies in there, it's not real obvious until you start looking at it, and then it's kind of cool. I like how it broke up the colors, because this yarn likes to pool a lot, so you can kind of see some of the brown right there. And it kind of had a little bit of striping here, but they're keeping my hands warm. These are going to be a gift to somebody, but I haven't decided whom yet. So that is my one finished object this week. Unless I have a finished object like you, I guess I can transition right into my whips. I've got one
oh my
slide
god, you
sock.
finished a sock.
I finished a sock.
You didn't even start those yet
last
week.
So it's a fairly interesting.
That giant sock.
It is a giant sock.
Huge.
And I said that my husband wasn't going. It was non-negotiable, but he tried them on and he agreed that they weren't too fancy frilly, and that my bill is not too plain. So this is the Cookie A slide sock out of Soulmate, and it's just interesting enough. It's kind of like the wind sheaf. In that you start out ribbing, and then the ribbing starts to move, and you decrease on one side and you increase on the other, and then it just kind of transitions here. They also make very nice little arm sleeves.
Yeah, you can see it. Like she knit a sleeve.
Yes.
You just really.
Yep. And the Soulmate is kind of rough. I mean, like I'm knitting. Yeah, I'm knitting this wool, and it's so nice, and then I go back to knitting this, and I'm like, but I don't think I'm going to get second sock syndrome with this, because it's so different. They're mirror copies. So this is the left foot, and the ribbing goes in, and then the right foot's going to be completely, I mean, it's a similar pattern, but a completely different, increase and decrease. It's kind of got a squishy back heel.
Yep.
This is the first,
slip one.
Yeah, not the first time, but one of the more recent times I've done a top-down sock.
Oh.
I normally do top down socks and reverse engineer them so that I can do them toe up. But this would
can't reverse engineer cookie A usually.
No. So and then I cast on and got my husband was giving me a hard time. You finished one sock, you're not gonna do the other. I'm like, I'm kind of getting
burnt out on
huge, ginormous, fill this with stocking up Santa. But I really like how the colors have, I don't know, again, if you can see it on here, how it's kind of gotten dark and light, and there's grays.
No, I like it. It looks nice.
Yeah.
The color's pretty cool.
Yeah, and when it's on his foot and you can see the ribbing, like, all stretched out, I need to get big sock blockers for him.
I do have one big sock blocker, but that's mostly for show. I slip it in there and then I take my pictures and then I...
Yep. So. Most of my socks get blocked on their feet, so...
Yes.
That's my 1.5 inches on the ribbing, which is funny because I was like, I'm trying to hold it up and figure out how it might. Is this the same length? Because the ribbing just continues in. It's just where the increases and decreases start. So, and then my other work in progress is I don't know how you say it, Roko, R-O-K-O. Roko has a pattern out there. The Cupido, her real name is Hiroko Fukatsu, yeah, that's how I would say Fukatsu. And she's got a Cupido cowl out there, which is just, it's very similar to the honey cowl. There's just some slip stitches and it ends up being very squishy, and I'm just doing that with the leftovers from the mitts. They took like 38 grams of the 100. 0.38 if you look at my project page, I believe.
Yeah.
38% of the yarn, and so I've got a good, I'll just go until I run out on this
plan.
Yep, and I don't know if you can see the slip pattern, but it says in the pattern, and I agree with it, it does a very good job of splitting up again, if there's any pooling or any weird stuff going on, because you just have one stitch that's slipped over 4 rows. And then
over 4. Okay.
Yep, and then it offset 3. So those are my finished objects / whips.
Okay. So I got like a case of startitis, and that's probably why I didn't get much done. So I get startitis a lot, especially when I finish a sweater.
Yeah.
So the good deal got off the needles, and I was like, okay, what am I going to cast on? I did work on, the sleeve of my traveling sweater quite a bit. And then I cast on a toe for some socks for my son. And then I have a need for a present coming up very soon, and I thought that these would make a really nice gift. They're the O Slips, so it's just a little slipper sock from Sharon of 3 Irish Girls. So I started those, and I had the other one started, and then I realized that my count was off, so I had to rip it out. But it was just the toe, and this is the equivalent of a worsted weight. It has you holding sock yarn double. And then I started a baby hat. I don't know, maybe I had shown this already. I think I had started
I've never seen it.
No? Okay, so maybe I did start it in the last week.
Very pretty colors.
I had made a monster out of this yarn and had quite a bit left over, and then I heard of a friend having a baby, or I can just she's like more of a friend of a friend of a friend. A little far out there, but I figure if I didn't end up wanting to give it to her, it could go to a charity, because baby hats are nice.
What yarn is that?
This is Malabrigo Rios.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I forget what color. Hopefully I've documented that in the monster, because the tag has long since been lost. But I have plenty left, and it fell out of its ball, unfortunately, so got to be careful with that. And so yeah, I plan to have the slippers be a finished object for next week, but I will be seeing the recipient before then. So yeah, you saw one. I'll put pictures up on Ravelry, but this will not come back.
Very necessary finished object feature then, since it's going to be going away.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then I can leave that for acquisitions.
I think that go right ahead, because I don't think that we have anything else. We're just flying through today. We're like,
so I am in Nerd Wars and I'm going to SSK and et cetera, et cetera. So I have all these projects that I would like to get done in time frames, like all these short time frame ones, and it's really driving me crazy. But my next short time frame one that I'm going to do is I am going to knit something from Kapoor, Kristen Kapoor.
Okay.
Kristen Kapoor, because that's the SSK Knitalong for this go round. And this is my Nan Cat, the heel and toe gray, and then the rest of it. It looks like a big blobby mess, but trust me, there's an awesome self-striping in there. And
can't really see the sparklies. I know, like from other podcasts that I've watched, you can't really see the sparklies.
This has the stellina in it, and so it is very sparkly and has little flecks of dazzle, in it. It's the bedazzled base, and super cute, and I can't wait to get started. I am like chomping at the bit to get this done, but I had to plurk earlier what should I use to cast on with, because I have like certain needle shortages going on right now, and I because I've been casting on a lot of socks and little projects, and so I don't have very many needles, and I'm like, what should I use? I could use double points, but that's not necessarily what I'm feeling like using right now. I don't have too many 2 circs, and I have like one possible magic loop, but it's so old, it's got a lot of kinks in it. So I thought maybe if people on Plurk lit up with one thing in particular they thought I should use, maybe I can use that as an excuse to go grab some new needles. It happens to me all the time with socks. Like, I have startitis the most with socks. Like, oh yeah, those look awesome, I'm gonna go do those. Or I start one for my husband, one for me, and one for a relative, and then I have like socks. And I usually only use the 2.25 millimeter. So like all the other sock needles that I've ever bought seem to be useless, because I really like that size for socks.
See, and it's so bizarre to me to have a needle shortage, I guess. Because to see me having 2 things on the needles this week is like bizarre. I feel like a mom who wants to give love to her kids, but I can't decide which one, so today I'm like, do I knit on the cowl? Do I knit on the sock? What do I do? I cast on the cowl because the sock I was getting tired of doing, small needles, small yarn, but so yeah, it never would have occurred to me to have more than one size of
I have tried just about every needle brand, and once I had decided that 2.25 was my go-to sock yarn size needle, I bought a bunch of spares just in case. So I have a bunch of double points, and that's not an issue. Like if everybody says, yeah, go back to double points for a while, I have plenty of those. I have no worries about that. And since it's going to be the ampersand pattern.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, and the ampersand is written for sport weight yarn, and this is not sport weight. So I've already added the stitches in the chart to make it into the number of stitches I need it for regular fingering weight. And so I'm ready to cast on. I don't know. I slowed down when it got to these. I was like, well, I want it to be just right and special for some reason. Like, this is going to be extra right and extra special.
Mm-hmm.
So I am hesitating to start that. And again, the other things that are, my stuff is in constant rotation. So unless it fulfills a Nerd Wars challenge or a SSK Knitalong or then our Knitalong, I'm not going to be touching it until all that stuff is done.
Yeah.
there's a few things that I'm going to do just because of Nerd Wars. Like there's a British theme, so I'm going to be knitting a tea cozy, and I've never knit a tea cozy.
I don't know very much about the Nerd Wars. I'm going to claim ignorance here, but when is that all over?
It is over. There's 3 1-month rounds, and this is the last month. So there's 3 rounds in the tournament. So it's tournament 3, and then there's 3 rounds. So we're in T3R3 of the Nerd Wars. There's 6 challenges per round. They're given themes, and I don't know. You're scored on your ability to complete and post a picture, and sometimes you have to be very specific. Like there was an angle one that I had to re-comment on like 3 times because it just wasn't just the right amount of detail that the moderator wanted. And I give it to those people who volunteer to be the people scoring up all the points, because it's a madhouse. I mean, if you knew how many people were participating in Nerd Wars, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
My team is big and active, and I think that we get around 23 solid participation in each of the categories, but not everybody knits every category. So I'm not sure how big our team is, but we get solid participation, about 25 per challenge. And then there's a team unity project, and I don't know. So you just knit as much little things as you can, or you focus on a dissertation. I'm doing all of it, so I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I am.
Did you get your, you finished up your 4th quarter Loopy challenge? Did you get that all uploaded into the Loopy U and 4th quarter? Your Good Deal.
Oh, yes, that's
so
right.
You get extra bonus points on your Pashmina.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I was knitting it for the dissertation too, so I forgot that I was double counting it in another
your
KM.
Accountant. Yeah, your tax accountant here reminded you that you needed to.
Me too.
Yeah, you upload
Perfect.
a picture and you say which order it was in, and then they go back through and say you got an extra blah blah blah. What are they called? FSBs?
Yeah, frequent shopper points. Whatever.
Yeah. Frequent shopper bonus or something like that.
Yeah.
I got mine because I finished mine a while ago.
Well, I finished mine. I just haven't put a picture up, and I have a finished object picture. It's just not on me. It's flat on the ground, and I don't really like those kind of pictures. But I do have to do embellishments for the dissertation because I finished too early.
Yeah. And then I was gonna. Mentioned you're wearing your It's not cinnamon. It's moody.
Moody. Yes. The child size version is called cinnamon, and it's a little cardigan.
Yeah, not
a
little,
very
it's
long.
Very long.
Very long.
But I love and you said that's Rios as well.
Yep.
Do you feel that analogous to my Madelinetosh is Malabrigo for you? You seem like you have quite a bit of Malabrigo.
I really like Rios.
Yeah.
I started out with just the regular worsted, and I'm like, it pills a lot, and it's beautiful to work with, and I've knit a lot of the chunky into things that don't get washed very much, like hats and things like that. But as soon as you put it into a garment or something that get washed a lot, it disappoints. I mean, it did for me. But then they came out with the superwash base, and I've been very happy with it. I haven't looked back. I think that anything I buy from Malabrigo is going to be superwash from here on out. I mean, I like this and their sock base a lot.
I've never had any. Have you ever had any issue? Again, we're probably over again because have you had any issues with like the color coming off? I had a white shirt and I was wearing my Effortless Cardigan. This is the first time Madelinetosh has ever done it to me. It's been washed and and it's their DK, and I made it short sleeve because my 5th skein of DK, mismatched. It was way too dark of orange, so I made it short sleeve, and it's real long in the front, even though I think I have the amount of stitches it was supposed to be on. It's supposed to be one of those I can wear it sometime, or you can go out and look at my project page. But it where I had sweat in my armpits, it was color bled,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'd never had to do that before. Madeline Tosh yarn do that for me before. So, have you ever had any of your Malabrigo bleed?
I'm trying to remember. I do have a sweater that is reddish, that if I wear a white tank under it, the white tank seems reddish when I'm done wearing it, but it washes back to white. So that's probably the closest I've come, and I think that was Malabrigo Silky Base that did that to me. But again, it washed out. The white garment wasn't completely scarred by its experience. But that and the blanket I made, it gave me those runs on your fingers, like it came off on my fingers. So I just made sure to wash it really good after I got it done. But some people wash them before, cure them before with vinegar and I think some people say soak it in a vinegar solution, so like half and half, and then wrap it and put it in the microwave, so then that sets it. But I'm not a dyer, so I'm not like
somebody had mentioned that if my sour didn't get used on 2 shaloms, that I wouldn't have to have 2. My hair is driving me nuts. I gotta cut, and they cut this part a little too short. It just doesn't quite fit over my ear. So if you see me going like this the whole show, she said that I could over dye the yarn, so I wouldn't have 2 garments that were the same color, because I didn't want that. And I've never dyed, so we'd have to have like a dyeing party.
I have some dye that I have never used, so there we go.
Okay.
It's just sitting on my in my craft room waiting for that to happen, I guess.
Fun.
But
that comes up with our Knitalong vote.
Yes. And we are hoping for the shaloms, because we want the matching green shaloms. But
do you think one more week of voting, or do you think we should like cut it off here pretty soon? Because it's pretty close, 50-50. I think it's like 25 to 26 shawl versus cardigan.
Yeah, we'll be devious and cut it off as soon as cardigan pulls ahead. I'm like, oh, cardigan pulled ahead. Close it down.
So we're advocating for team shalom, team cardigan. And I think, those that are people think of cardigan and it's like a long sleeve, and the shalom, I think, is a really quick knit because it's just a yoke, and I don't think you even put any sleeves after the yoke.
Yeah,
it's just
I think it's
yoke.
Probably one of the easiest little cardies you're ever gonna knit, because it's bulky, right?
Yep, bulky,
and no sleeves, not even there, and then there's no real shaping per se, because it's just yoke, you don't have to, I don't know, it's just even increasing all around.
And it's top down, so you can make it as long as you want, once you get to the bottom, long or short, I guess, as you want.
Yeah, so. And then you can try it on to make sure you didn't mess up.
So I feel like I tried to make it a democracy, but maybe we're gonna have to go back to dictatorship and be like,
we rule.
Amy and I want to do this knit along, and we want to knit shaloms, and we want you to knit shaloms with us. And so we let you try to make the right decision, like any parent does. And you didn't, so now we're just going to swoop in and say, no!
When Ellie used to have that, like, the post, like anything that was the ladder, she would go for. So you'd be like, sweetie, would you like to knit a shawl? Or a shalom. It was always the second thing.
Yes.
A shalom, mommy.
Would you like mommy or daddy to change your diaper? Daddy. Do you want to have this or that? That. Yes. So she always chose the second one. So yep. I feel bad. Like Amy went out there and commented like, I really don't want to do a shawl. And I'm like, why did I even put that as an option? So anyway, we may cut it. Yeah, we may cut it short and just say cardigan, and all of the votes will disappear. And
we thought better of the vote.
Yeah. So.
And not that I expected everybody to jump on cardigan. I mean, it sounds intimidating.
Yeah.
But the shalom is not, and it's free as well. You know, you don't have to buy anything.
Yeah.
And the only other shawl that I have in progress that I would probably use our Knitalong to complete is the Stephen West mystery shawlette that I never finished.
Yeah.
It went into a bag and it has stayed there. It's in
Uh-oh.
timeout. It's not even in my projects page. So, yeah, that's how naughty it was.
It chose poorly, huh?
Yeah.
Was
No,
it in a bout of startitis, or?
I wanted to try a Stephen West pattern besides the one that I had done before, and this was a cheap option, you know, to do the mystery. And it was fun when it first started, but then I got to the fourth or fifth clue, and I was like, well, I read them, but I didn't do them.
Yeah.
And I will finish it someday because it was really nice. I was out at my mom's one time, and I got through like 2 repeats, you know, 2 sections of it. I was like, oh, 2 sections done. But then you read the 3rd section and it's like, or 4th section, forget which one, but it's like the keep going until it's the size you want it to be. And it's like, oh, gugh, you know, and I just got burnt out on it. And it's intarsia, so you have a lot of extra balls of yarn hanging out, waiting for you to work on them. And so, I don't know, things get twisted and wrapped up. And I don't know. It can be relaxing knitting. It just stopped being fun, so I put it in timeout. But I'm sure it'll be fun again. I did not mind the pattern. I just, you know, like I said, it just got in the middle of other things that were way more exciting. And
yeah. Speaking of which, I will go right into enabling and acquisitions. I signed up for his shawl club today.
Okay.
So I didn't do the yarn option because I have lots of yarn, lots of fingering weight yarn that I'm hoping to use the shawls. For the shawls, and I thought it was a really reasonable price. It's 5 shawls, 5 patterns, and you get the PDFs through Ravelry, and it was $20, so it's $4 a shawl. And I mean, even if, you know, I only end up doing a couple of them like Cookie A, it's about what you would pay for buying them single piece. So, and they've got, you know, their little community and whatever. So.
Yep. I am anxiously awaiting book 3's arrival so that I can do, I think I want to do that bag. He's got a shoulder bag in book 3 that it's felted, I believe, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, I really like your Dustland mitts. Like you had a bigger picture out on Ravelry where you could see all of the stitch.
I'm enjoying a lot of the patterns because he gave us a couple hat patterns as well, and early. And I really liked them. I thought that they were really cool.
Yeah.
I just had a hard time, I don't know, I don't need another hat. So I had to think of a recipient and find the yarn, and I don't know. The mitts I could very much like, yes, cast on, justify it, awesome, I'm on my way. But the hats, I thought they were really cool, but I need to wait until I have a recipient. That, and I also bought the Pagona as a single pattern, and I can't wait to have one of those. So that's going to be one of those.
Yeah, I have Daybreak sitting out in my queue, and the pattern bought, and just have to pick some yarn and get going. So
it's more of a, like, I really want that FO, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want that shawl.
Yeah, so you'll be highly motivated to get her done.
Yes, and it looks like a lot of stock in it, zombie.
Yeah.
It really does. But I'll be happy to dive into that at some point. But I don't have any acquisitions. So
again, this week.
I didn't want to buy anything. I told you I was on a buying, slapping my hand business here because I cannot have any more packages arrive at our house.
It's a good thing this podcast had me this week. Then I had some finished objects. I've got some acquisitions. From Eat, Sleep, here, let me grab my yarny goodness.
Oh, there you are.
My yarny goodness. Okay. Let's do what I actually bought first. I got the Madeline Tosh sock. This is the first Tosh sock I've had. Besides what we got with the Cookie A, the Midnight Rendezvous, was that? Yeah, I believe that was through Cookie A. It was that or the Loopy U's.
It could have been the Loopy U's.
Club,
That
but
was really good.
they have newer ones that are like glazed. I think they're supposed to be a shinier base, and this didn't end up being that, which was kind of what I was hoping for. I had seen other photos out on, but again, will be very pretty, very pretty socks, or I guess it could be a shawl or anything as well.
I was just thinking that Madeline Tosh that we got through Loopy U's was, it was Loopy's favorite season. It was the fall colors one. Did you get that one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So maybe that wasn't the one you were in.
Yeah, and then I got some TML, some Tosh Merino Light in the ink colorway. And I got 4 of those, so it could be an Austin hoodie. It could be, I have some more TML all.
Well, that could be a Cardi Knitalong as well, since I said I have the cream de mint waiting for the Austin hoodie. But that's a lot of knitting.
I have it in ink and I have it in forestry, and I believe the forestry I'm going to end up of it as an atelier. I have the pattern all printed out. How would you? It's a Heidi Kermeyer. I'm horrible with names and things that I haven't pronounced before. But kind of an open-faced cardi there, and I got the forestry all skeined up. I don't have that ink skeined up.
Those kind of patterns are all about the yarn, right? I mean, it looks very basic, but has like show off the yarn.
Yeah, and those type of things generally go pretty quickly for me. I don't stall out, since I just have to power on through, since it's the only thing I'm knitting. I could not resist. This is Garden Gnome Gaya Lace, so it's Mongolian cashmere and 40% cashmere, 60% silk. I think it's 420 yards. It's the Sanguine Griffin, and so it'll be kind of a small citron, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a citron because it's really soft, and the colors just say half circle to me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's called the Sanguine Griffin is going out of business. They're splitting their two yarn shops, and this was on 20% off or something like that. And then I got my additional 10% off. So I got it for pretty good price. But yeah, it's really soft. It's just like I do love me some cashmere.
I look at stuff like that and always think like smoke green, like the cowls that are long enough to be kind of hoodie things. Like, that's what I always think of when I see yarn like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, the silk gives it a little bit of a halo. Alright, where did I put that there? And then we're getting to my freebies, my giveaways. I got this from the Knit Circus blog. It is Rocky Mountain Dye Works. Did I say that the first time?
You said Martin.
Okay.
Instead of Mountain.
Yep. Martin is my dad. And it's Bow Falls fingering. And it's a beautiful brown. It's a light fingering. And from the comments that I've seen out, I saw on a Ravelry.
Lace weight.
Yeah, people said lace weight, and they would not recommend it for socks. Because I wanted to make the salted caramels out of the Knitter's Book of Socks pattern, and I thought this looked kind of like a caramely color, but definitely not with this skein. And then Lorna's Laces, I won the Feel Good song. I think I spoke about it last week, and it was Signed, Sealed, Delivered. I will always dance to that song. And so I got some more Soulmate. I now have 4 skeins in my stash, so it recently went from one, our boysenberry, I believe, or whatever it was. From the Cookie A Sock Club to this, and this is Beverly. It's a very pretty greens and blues, a lot more variegated.
Higher, I think.
A lot more variegated than my Skyway. And this one, which will make something beautiful for my daughter, is Lincoln Park Zoo. Lots of pinks, dark pink, light pink. I don't know what about Lincoln Park Zoo is pink, but Chicago naming.
Okay.
Chicago names, I believe.
That's where they're from?
Yep, I believe that's where they're out of. So I had a lot of that, and I won Diane on Knittables, the November Knitalong, the Frisco Basket Whip. I won some yarn that I'll be able to show you next week. So three wins. I was lucky in this past week.
Wow.
Yeah, and every single time my husband goes, "So you won this?" And I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "Are you sure you're not just buying it and telling me that you won it?" I'm like, "You are mischievous. I'll do that in the future."
That gives me an idea.
Yeah, thank you for enabling me to lie to you in the future. So, and there was, I believe it was Bacon Fairy out on Ravelry asked me, Mandy, yeah, asked, what would you care to share the blogs that you read? And so I added a page out on our blog, on Blogger, a permanent page, and it's a permanent page that links to my dynamic list, because I think about daily. I add another blog. There's currently 638, I believe, blogs out there, and they're anything from, I go out on Ravelry, and if you're my friend on Ravelry, I go out and grab your blog. If you're a designer and you had a free pattern, I went out and grabbed your blog. If you're a designer and I like your pattern, I grab your blog. So that's a lot of Ravelry stuff. And then there's yarn companies, there's stores, there's like Knit Circus magazines, just all kinds of stuff. And so Amy and I talked, and you said that your threshold was very high, like they had to post a certain number of
like
times
daily
in a
posters.
week. Yeah. And so with me, it was 630 some of them.
You have something to read daily, but
yeah, yep, I have lots to read. Like over Thanksgiving, if I didn't get out there and check it, my little finger twitch, I think Amy noticed me doing it the other day, of in Google Reader you can say N for next and M for mark is read, and I just go NM, 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 especially when in Ravelry I also subscribe to the RSS for friends' finished objects and favorites and whatever, so I can see what other folks are doing out on Ravelry. I stalk you via Google Reader. And so that's out there, Bacon Fairy. And if anybody, I could start a thread. If anybody has any suggestions, they can either comment on that page out on Blogger, or we could start a thread out on Ravelry on, hey, you have a glaring hole in your blog list, even though you have 630 of them. You need to read this blog. So I think you said you read Turtle
Girl?
Yeah, Turtle Girls.
Christy and Wendy Johnson, and just seldom few. I have started putting my podcast in an RSS feed, so that technically a blog, but it's usually just when they post their video.
Yep. I have those too.
Yeah. So very limited. A lot of ones where I have a friend who's a writer mom who has her own blog, but basically the only people reading it care about her kids and what they're doing at this very moment.
Personal.
Yeah,
personal.
very personal blog, but funny, because she's gonna be a big rom-com writer someday. She is hilarious. She's got a book. It's just not been I don't know, sold or whatever you want to call it. She hasn't found an agent / publisher.
Okay.
And
you had a shout out, I thought.
I have a couple different things. Like, somebody asked me about a safety eyes, tips and tricks. I didn't bring any of my monsters or any, demonstration stuff. But if you wanted a quick tip for right now, is that you really should place everything where you think it's going to be, with pins and sticks and however you can get them to stay in place without actually sewing them down, and look at it from a distance and up close, and then sew everything on. So with the safety eyes, you want to plunk them into their spots, both of them, or how many ever safety eyes you're giving it. If it's an unusual monster, you might have like a smattering of them. And I've seen spider patterns where they have like 8 or something, that's really cool design of eyes in the monster. But place them in there and then step back, because even if it's the same placement in the row, and you've counted the stitches from one side to the other, sometimes just plunking them in there and looking at them is going to get you a better looking monster. Like, he might have a more quizzical look or a more interesting look if you just plunk them in there where you want. And I'm saying plunk a lot. It's an unusual word to say like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
But anyway, I find that my monsters' faces smile more at me if I play with the placement a little bit. You know, rather than just counting, making sure they're perfectly centered and sinking the little thing, and you know, I just kind of my gut feeling place them, and once they're both in there, I step back and I look at it and I make sure that everything looks okay. I might even cut the felt mouth out and stick that on there too, just to kind of make sure that everything looks like it's going to be a good placement. The arms are kind of pinned in, or maybe the arms are already sewn on, but everything is in placement.
Yeah.
And then I make sure everything's
So
permanent.
kind of like in carpentry where they say to measure twice and cut once, right?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Because a lot of those eyes, you could pry the backs off of them again, but then they wouldn't go back on. You know? So just be wasting a set of eyes if you really hated it. And that's about it. I like to make sure my monsters are knit nice and firm, you know, so a tight knit, so that those monster eyes can go in and they won't be able to be pulled out. And I'm a tight stuffer. I like to stuff a firm monster. So, you know, I've been doing swaps with people, and it's just very interesting when you get a stuffy from somebody, how they've decided to stuff it.
Yeah.
Like some people are very minimalist. They put very little stuffing in there, and you're like, okay, he's kind of like mushy,
flimsy.
And then, you know, some people like, oh, they like a, you know, in between where I would go and this other person would have went. They're like in the middle, you know. It's like, yeah, it's a good squishy, soft, you know, thing. But I just really like them to look more like
Amy will go down in the books as, you know, a tight stuffer.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I think that they show just the features better when you've stuffed it to the max.
In general, I guess, I haven't done one, but I would think I would probably stuff a great deal as well, because it's not gonna get any fluffier, right? I mean, it's only gonna get, like, the stuffing will get more compacted down and more dense, so not gonna get fluffed up more for you. So.
And it's, you know, and again, I was taught from a very young age that you, like, because my mom's a crafter, that you fluff your stuffing before you pick small pieces and you put them in there one at a time, and you keep going, you keep working it, so you work to the edges and keep going, and some people may not have been taught that.
I definitely wasn't.
So that you don't get balls of, like if you
clumps.
hug it, you can get clumps and you can feel them. Whereas if you soft, put them, I don't know, delumped it. Or if you're not caring so much, like if you needed to stuff a pillow, a good thing is to buy like really thick batting and put that on both sides of the pillow, and then stuff the center however you like. And then the top and the parts that you're going to squeeze won't be lumpy, or, I don't know, it'll look nice on your couch. And it won't have any of those rough bumps. But, a nice thick batting will take care of that if you have to stuff your own pillow. I usually buy pillow forms, though, and just cover them. But that got off track because that's about sewing and putting placement of things and being taught to stuff. I was my mom's little helper on the assembly line, because she would do craft shows and she'd be like making lots of little stuffed things, sewing stuffed things, and it could be my job to stuff them, but I was told when it was wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
and how to do it right.
Yeah. And apparently my mom was a tight stuffer as well, because
tight stuffers breed other tight stuffers.
I like my animals when they're that way.
I do too. I think I have some knit Christmas trees sitting over there that you commented on, and they don't really sit flat really well because I stuffed them so tight. So They're kind of.
So you needed to cut the cardboard out and put
See,
that
I
in the
didn't know
bottom
that.
Okay.
I didn't know about the cardboard trick. The pattern didn't call for that.
Or you can sew a round circle and put the polyform beads or beanbag type material in it, and then you put that on there, and then the bottom will sit nicer because it's weighted. But things you learn when you grow up with a crafter.
Yeah.
And that's all I had. I did want to shout out to somebody that I might be traveling with, or I'm 99.9% sure I will be traveling with to SSK. We just haven't ordered our tickets to fly yet. And she is also working on her traveling sweater, and I'm sitting here looking at my sleeve. She's only got a sleeve to go.
Yeah.
So power through. You could do it.
Did you want to say a name or no?
Christy.
Okay.
And right now her Ravelry name has just left me completely.
Put you
it's
on the
Christina
spot.
something, because I was like, Christy. But yeah, it just went.
Yeah.
It left me.
Some folks you think of as their first names, and other you think of them as their
Ravelry names.
Yeah, Ravelry names.
That's true. But yeah, she's ahead of me, and we need to get these done. So. Go! You can.
Are you going to wear them at SSK? Won't it be kind of warm?
No, we will probably not be wearing them at SSK. But I will probably bring it and show it to her, because I'll probably be meeting at her house before we hit the plane.
Is she doing hers in Mubu too?
I think so. I'm not. Yes. Yep. Yes, she is. I don't remember what color it is. I think it's it's a darker one, like you guys did.
Okay. And then other administrative stuff, as we're talking here, it seems to me that in iTunes our video is really quiet. And so I'm going to try to, we're both very loud talkers. Like, you get us out in public and I feel kind of bad, like, because we're so loud. And so it's odd to me to have people say they can't hear what I'm saying, because generally people are like, could you please quiet down a little bit? So I'm going to play around with the conversion a little bit, but I think in general iTunes has been really quiet. You said somebody said they couldn't watch us on their iPad, like they couldn't wander around. And so hopefully if I normalize again, to get technical here, if I normalize the sound up a little higher, you won't have to turn it all the way up. In iTunes, because I was noticing when I was watching Dramatic Knits, I had to turn it way up, and then his dog barked, and I about peed my pants. I was like, every single time the dog barked. What did you say? He said, shut your mouth!
Shut your face!
Shut your face! He could have pulled out what is it, in Wedding Singer, she goes, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me! So anyway, we've got a nice new little counter here, and it is saying that we are getting towards the end of our leash here.
Yes.
So it's been another wonderful week. Go see if you can still vote, and vote cardigan on the Knitalong.
Yeah, go see if you can. If the poll hasn't been taken down and Shalom being declared the winner.
I mean, somebody else, you could vote. I mean, it depends on what kind of Knitalong we have. We could say any cardigan you want. I would say Shalom would probably be the easiest one.
Yeah.
Because it's free and it's probably the quickest, like you said, the quickest one that's out there. So, and we'd be available to answer any questions for you if you had any questions about it. So, seize the opportunity to do a sweater with a bunch of other folks and have it be easy and fun.
Yeah.
So.
And I would love to see people attempt their first sweater.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just enable you into your next level of crafty.
Yeah, yep. And then you can wear it and you can be like, I'm a stocking knit zombie. I am a stocking knit zombie. I said that really quiet. You would say it really loud and be proud. So, have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, Oofta.
Yeah.
Happy knitting.
Happy knitting.